I'm Tabitha Rock.
And I'm Sam Davenport.
Born and bred in Melbourne, we live and breathe property, and we know the Melbourne market like the back of our hand. We've both been buying and selling real estate in Metro Melbourne for over 2 decades combined, and we've learned a few lessons along the way. We're back for another episode, and this one's a bit hurty feelings.
Hurty feelings.
And we're going to talk about a really sensitive topic for a lot of buyers out there, which is
Missing out at auction.
or missing out in a private sale battle, an expressions of interest battle, and
Yeah.
you've lost.
You've lost. You loved it. You wanted it.
You did all your due diligence.
Ugh. You got all your ducks in a row, and then you lost.
You got family members through.
Oh
you
my God.
You had them at the
You
auction.
told everyone. You told people. You said, this is the house I'm going to buy.
You were deciding where you're putting your paintings up.
Brutal.
It's painful.
It's very painful. We find it painful too.
We find it painful because I see the pain in my client's face.
Oh, it's hard.
Mind, heart, soul. But I always tell them there's more property, and I'm always like, don't stress. And I think, talking about a hurty problem here, we are also talking about the upside of missing out.
What missing out can teach you.
There are some lessons. We're going to walk you through them because it's important. I think that when I chat to a client, I'm like, first question, have you bid on anything? Have you missed out recently? And if they've missed out on a property in the last couple of weeks, I want to work with you. That is like prime time for getting you some great off-market opportunities. Yes. And it's just such a valuable time. Like, yes, you're in the hurt locker, but you've got momentum in your search now. So you've got one agent that knows you're hot and ready to go. Say that's Biggin and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
You've missed out on their auction or you submit an offer. Work closely with them. Call them up on Monday because I'll tell you what, not Biggin and Scott exclusively, but a lot of the agents out there just never follow up their underbidders. So what you're going to do is you're going to call them up on Monday. Hey, I missed out on that auction. What's next?
Hey,
what
it's
have you got?
Remember the 10 conversations we had in the last 3 weeks?
Remember that building inspection I paid for and now I've just like flushed money down the toilet?
Yeah. I don't want to do that again. I want to buy the next one.
Exactly. And so now you get out your email as well and you pump out the emails to the local agents. Hey, underbidder on this one, which is exactly because it's so time consuming. So that's exactly what we do for our clients. We'll miss out on a property. Sometimes we go into stuff knowingly.
Oh, yeah. Purposefully, almost. Knowing, for many reasons, which we'll go into, but yeah.
And you just we send out this email. We're the underbidder. So now we've missed out with Ray White, but now Nelson's knows, Woodard's knows, Buxton knows, all of them know that we have a qualified buyer ready to go. And because we're ex-agents, we know what conversation is now happening. They are sitting at their desk on a Monday with, now a pep in their step because they've got a qualified buyer that they're now calling up their vendor that hasn't quite signed on with them saying, can we just walk them through the home?
Yeah.
It's very soft. It's very, non-threatening. Next minute they might be putting a deal together.
Yeah.
So they are really in a position where they want to help you now. You are good to go and you're gold to agents.
Absolutely. But it also, that conversation of I've just missed out on X property and now the agent has spoken to their vendor, they will pass that messaging on. This buyer has just bid on X property which sold for X. So there's a combination of things that are happening. The vendor is accepting what their property is possibly worth and then allowing you through. But they're also understanding that you're not wasting their time. You're not wasting the agent's time. You're coming through to buy. You're going to decide whether you want to buy this property at this loosely sort of suggested price, which is obviously comparable to what you've just missed out on. And so you're sort of jumping so many barriers before you're even in that door, which we find when we're looking at off-market property just in general for clients where we're not talking underbidder situation, you can be worlds apart on price. You can have vendors who aren't actually open to it. You can have buyers who aren't in a way ready to buy some, there's so many factors.
But you can also have agents out there really disinterested in engaging with you. Obviously with us as professionals, they are more, but they definitely ask us, has our client bid on anything? Have they come close to securing anything with us, without us? Because it does qualify that buyer. It means that they're serious and in the game. And I always go into auctions with clients saying the worst thing is we're coming out and now we've got a message to pump out.
Pump out.
So don't be disheartened if we lose, because it happens to us.
Yeah.
And also because we're not out here overpaying just to secure the home. Like, we're very calculated, calm. We set a budget and we walk away at that limit, because we've had discussions with our clients about, okay, sensibly, mathematically, this is what the property's worth.
Yes.
We've got this amount of interest. So there's probably, this 2 to 5% range that might skew that figure slightly, but then we can find better. Let's walk away at that number.
Exactly.
And I think, and just, maybe they're more open to doing that because they've got us there pounding the pavements on Monday or making the calls on Monday for them. They know that, it's not all on their shoulders.
Yeah, well, exactly. Because you've got to receive the calls after you put it out. You've got to receive it back, so you've got to have time.
Oh, and also decipher whether all these off markets you're getting are good or bad and worth what they say that the vendor wants. Like, it's
just because you get given an off-market property doesn't mean you need to inspect it.
Oh,
we have to be so careful about what we're spending our time doing, and just inspecting property because we got given the address is a time waste.
Yeah.
We have to make sure it's suitable, it's at the right price, and it's actually going to be something the client is interested in before we go and have a look.
Comment is really applicable to this conversation, but I actually watched something on social media and this poor girl said that her offer, so it must have been sort of an expressions of interest, or maybe, no, I think she said pre-auction offers and then they just did best and final. Her offer was actually $37,000 more than the next highest bid, but they got it because they offered 30 days.
Yes.
And she could only do 90 days because I think she had money coming in from somewhere. And so, that one can really hurt where you're like, I've offered you more money.
Yes.
But that's not even been enough to convince you to sell the home to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, make sure you understand what the vendor wants in terms of other things apart from price. That's a valuable lesson.
Exactly. And that's obviously only applicable when we're talking about private offers, expressions of interest, submitting an offer pre-auction.
Not at auction.
Not at auction. At auction, it's whatever you've already pre-agreed, and then now you're in the bidding phase. So she would have been the buyer if she had been under auction conditions, which is what can be really frustrating too. It just depends on how the process is run. We missed out on one for a client knowingly the other day. And when I say knowingly, it was this what I mentioned before. It was a combination of things. It was, I knew that the property was over budget before I inspected the property. These clients were new on the books with us, and we had looked at many properties already, maybe 10. And all of them were too small. But that's what was going under budget. So then for us, we need to start sort of working out, okay, what are we doing with this now? We need to either change the scope, which in their case we changed slightly area, which was already an area that we had on as our second tier on our scope document, but we just refocused on that area. But we also need to sort of prove to them that it's not just what we're saying, it's what is going on.
Our pricing is correct. We know what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But sometimes you do have to be in it to win it. And I say
exactly. So there's the factor of wanting to, I felt and I knew, and I did the property report and I knew what I thought that it was worth and what I thought it was going to go for based on knowing there was 4 other bidders who all bid on the day. And so gave them my thoughts. However, like I said to them, you don't know. There have been times, few and far between, but there have been times that you see a result and you go, shit, that is less than what I would have paid for it, and I should have been there. very few and far between for us because you do that one time, you never do that again. You know, you want to make sure you're there. If they love it and you're maybe line ball on price, you want to make sure you're there. So we went there knowing that we were unlikely to buy it, but you never know. Started the bidding very strong out the gates, you know, hand up, all ballsy and stuff, you know, with very little to play with. And it sort of lands on us and then pause, and we're at max budget. And I could feel my clients over here like, you know, celebrating. And I'm thinking to myself, just watch, you know, just watch. And then, of course, it went, you know, $60,000 over the budget, which is exactly where I said it was worth. Go over to them and they're like, oh, it's exactly what you said would happen. I said, yes, it is, which is good for you guys to see. But also we needed to be here just in case. But that afternoon, underbidder email goes out. Receive influx of options from agents, influx. I reckon I would have received that day like 9 off market. Some of them I had already come across before, you know, sure, whatever. Some of them overpriced, some of them main roads. So this is where you got to filter right through and go, okay, what's worth
there's one
looking
left.
at? One left.
And we're going to buy it.
But what we've ended up doing is within, I mean, I think that was like 3 weeks ago and we've just bought for them off market. In the different area, slightly different area, bordering, literally next suburb over, but it's giving them the size that they want. No competition. We were the only buyer that walked through and we had just missed out on another one for them in between the auction and this one, which was a private sale, and it was competition back and forth with offers from multiple buyers, and that sold for $760 and we've bought this for $720.
Brilliant.
Like, and so you can, each miss might lead you to your win. Well, it will. It does lead you to your win.
It does.
So it's sort of, if you miss out, it's because it went above your budget.
Yeah.
It went outside of what you were prepared in your straight right mind the day before to pay for it. So don't stress about it too much.
Yeah.
They hurt, but move it along.
Yeah.
I like to be let's move it right along.
And that's why I often say to clients, please don't tell too many friends, family and colleagues, work colleagues. My gosh, people just love to flick the link around, you know, willy-nilly. And I get it because they're trying to get validation and they're trying to get comfort around the opinions of people they trust that this is a good place. But it really is so disheartening when you miss out and then you're back out there telling everyone. It's sort of like why agents say to people, you know, be there on auction day, because after auction day, if it fails, like, you know, the vendor's like a wounded dog. Like they
Oh yeah.
I was going to say wounded bull, but no.
Wounded dog is so much. Wounded bull, at least they're like big and breathing, you know. Wounded dog is
like a poodle. Yeah. Like they wanted to sell. They wanted to leave that day telling all their friends and family.
No one's more disappointed than a vendor that didn't sell on auction day.
Exactly. So that's why a lot of agents will tell you, and it is correct that they are the most motivated on auction day to sell. They just want to close a chapter.
Yes.
Come Monday, they're deciding they're leasing it out.
Totally. They've increased their price.
They're moving back in.
Yeah.
So,
The environment of auction day is a pressure cooker for both parties. So the vendor is oftentimes at their lowest price on auction day and the buyer is oftentimes at their highest price. As soon as they walk away, sleep on it, talk to people, you know, that can change. But yeah, I mean, the old saying, you know, don't tell people your plans, just show them your results, you know?
I love that.
Just surprise them with the sold sticker picture and just move it right along. You know, you don't but I'm an oversharer from way back. So I do talk a lot about stuff with people. So I know those people. But what I say to my clients often, and if you're not working with an advocate and you are working by yourself, do that if you must, if you're that way inclined. Yeah. But really try to not take on their opinions too much. You know, you've got to really remind yourself these people you're talking to may have purchased 1 or 2 properties in their time on this earth. So they're not quite the right person to get actual advice from. And they don't know the area. They don't know the property. Like that's what I often find so fascinating, that people are so robust in their opinions. They don't know the market. Yes.
So they're reading the Age on the weekend. Auction clearance rates are
80%
or up. You know,
we had an increase in February. 0.4% increase in property values in February for Melbourne as a whole. Like, sorry, no.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
taking that on too much.
No, just stick to being
Yeah.
whatever their real job is.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a property professional. But yeah, so moral of the story is that, it's fine.
There's an
gonna be
upside of losing.
Yes.
That's the moral. There is an upside of losing.
Should we touch base on how people should bid? Have we ever spoken about that on the podcast?
I don't know.
I mean,
it's a bit weird if we haven't. Is that weird?
Well, let's touch on it. Maybe then we'll go back and listen to all our multiple episodes.
Well, I was looking back at all of our past episodes and it's quite funny
to see where
season 1 was good because we did like 101s.
Yes.
The basics. So if you really are just tuning in for your first time and you're sort of down with us at season 5, go back to season 1 because we really outline our first episode is like how to set your scope. So I think like if you're basically what we did in our season 1 was like our first home buyer course that we did, which is also available for sale on the website.
It is indeed. We need to make sure that content is still relevant.
It will not be. We need to update that.
But I mean, so when you speak to so many different people in property, out of property, everyone's got an opinion on how to bid, whether you hang back, wait till it's on the market, then you come in, guns blazing. Do you stand up? I've seen so many advocates do this and it makes me cringe and the agent hates them, but they stand right next to the agent with like their
facing
arms
the crowd.
Facing the crowd.
Come on, bro.
No, there's 2 prominent people that do that. And it's like, but why? Like, but I actually have seen it work once that these first home buyers were just so intimidated.
I was going to say a first home buyer who is really unsure of themselves, that is definitely going to intimidate them.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the classic tactics, that's who they intimidate is a younger first home buyer who just feels nervous in general. Mind you, a lot of people who go to auction and bid for themselves, whether they've bid multiple times, the physical reaction to the nerves is pretty strong.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I always say to people, go in with a plan, with a budget. So then you can confidently bid. That's why we confidently bid because we know where it started and where it's going to stop for us.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just trying to secure it close.
Somewhere in between,
so close to where it started. But, yeah, I mean, I would always say to people before it's on the market, do whatever you want. Bid, don't bid. I mean, I would always bid. I'm almost always first one out of the gates unless
always.
Yeah, but unless I think that it's going to be a mediocre auction and then I try and make everyone a bit nervous about if there's any interest.
Make the vendor sweat.
Totally.
If you know you're dealing with the vendor, so you know you don't have competition, how you'll bid in that scenario is very different to how you'll bid if you're bidding against other buyers in competition.
Yeah.
So that style of bidding is very different to you're basically planning for a pass-in and you're going to negotiate with the vendor. So that's a very different style of bidding.
Yeah.
And it's like even just saying that, it just makes you think like, how do people, do they know what they're doing? No, I don't know. When they're going into an auction setting, the difference of the style of bidding between dealing with the vendor direct in a very soon-to-be private negotiation versus competition.
Well, I think that comes down to getting intel from the agent before you get started. And for some buyers, they've grinded with the agent during the campaign.
Yes.
And so they might not have the best relationship with the agent that's calling the auction or standing next to the auctioneer. And so getting intel has been a bit of a grind because of this friction between the two parties. And that's why I always say to people, it's so good having us involved because we're a third party and we're a scapegoat. And I'm over here blaming my client for not giving me the 30-day settlement the vendor wants. Yet really, no, we've always wanted the 90 days or something. But now we've got multiple people to sort of riff off. But I think there's no exact science to bidding, but it comes down to having a plan before you start, getting intel from the agent around your competition. Are they first home buyers? Are they downsizers? Downsizers will bid aggressively, they'll look like they've
or
got
they'll wait
cash.
till the last minute and then they'll win it with one bid.
Yeah.
No matter what price it's at. I hate that. That's where you're really like, I gave it the best I could.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
really tried to give everyone a performance here.
Oh, yeah. I may as well put tap dancing shoes on at this point.
Oh gosh. I don't and the outfit. I mean, I've started to wear more casual attire to auctions because I'm thinking like
Yeah.
maybe that's looks like I have less money. Like
Oh,
I'm
no, I
not going
want
like a
them to-
hobo.
Oh, yeah. I want them to think I have unlimited budget.
Yeah.
And then they see me get into my Honda hire car and they're like, wait, who, what? You?
She did say hi car there.
Hire car.
Nothing
but
wrong with a Honda
It's been
though.
weeks. It feels like it's mine, which is
We
really
just-
messing with the brain.
Yeah. We just live in our cars for a living. So
It's my office. It's my
Yeah.
mobile office. It's
Mobile
really
office.
upsetting.
oh my gosh. This has been a short episode, but a real punchy episode. I think there's so many good things in here for buyers to like listen to, take away, really process. Obviously, we're here if you don't want to do it yourself and
Yeah, exactly.
make the calls. But there you can. And missing out, there is such upside.
You're going to miss out. It happens. We miss out. We lose at auctions. We lose in private negotiations. It happens. But it doesn't need to be the end of the world. I say to my clients all the time, you can feel upset about that today, but tomorrow we're
New day.
moving on. Okay. And so obviously for us, if you are in a position where you feel like you've missed out multiple times, there's a problem with you. You're the problem. So you should definitely call us because we don't miss out. I say this to my clients in sign-ons. I can't tell you one time I've missed out on more than two.
No.
When?
No.
Ever. So we are always in a position where we're in the box seat to buy, and that's because of all of the prep work we do prior.
Yeah.
So
Although there was one time in COVID I missed out 4 times to
Oh
poor
my
Zoe.
yeah, but that was when the values were increasing each week.
Oh, no. And I was like, no, this isn't good enough. We're only going up to this price for this one.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget
Trying
that.
to get it for too good a deal.
True.
Anyway, F, marry, kill.
Yeah. Talk to me.
Okay. These are all painful. Underbidder. So you're the
Direct.
actual direct underbidder. So you've missed out by, in many, many cases, $1,000.
Oof.
Painful. That's gross. Not even getting a bid in. So you're there and it's gone flurry of
Client told me
bidding
that
over
happened to them
budget.
in 2 auctions.
I can imagine that does happen for a lot of other buyers. I mean, can I say $750? I'm like straight away. Like,
Yeah.
A, I want to get it moving. B, I'm usually getting sunburned. Like, I've got to go. We've got to just roll it along, you know? Because otherwise, no one wants to be the first bidder.
I'm getting something. Next minute, Sam's walking up to the auction with one of those flat hats from primary school.
No. It'll be a big visor.
The straw one.
A big visor or
That's-
a personal umbrella.
That's actually going with your outfit today.
I would be wearing. I should have a fucking visor on right now.
You should.
Oh,
okay, tell me
God.
the other ones.
Or
getting
getting
smashed.
smashed. I know what I'd do. You tell me.
Okay, so I'm obviously marrying being the underbidder because of powerful conversations with agents. That's where I'm
Amen,
at.
sister.
I'm
What?
killing getting smashed because the
It's embarrassing.
I
It is
face,
embarrassing.
Like having been in the arena and then I'm quickly
Particularly if you're there in a fucking suit and heels.
100%. It's the worst. And then I'm effing not even getting a bid in because maybe I've just come to watch.
Yeah,
Who
I'm
knew?
the same. Exactly. Who knows? You do
Yeah.
market research, darling.
Yes.
I'm the same. Definitely marry direct underbidder because very powerful position, to be in, and the conversations you can have that day, the next week, super strong. You'll buy once you're the underbidder.
Absolutely.
And yeah, getting smashed, horrific. And it's just embarrassing. There's more than anything, and not even getting a bid in is fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't want that.
I don't want that. And that has never happened to me, thank God.
Never. How could it?
No, it couldn't.
Maybe you've choked and you have just, you just,
It's got to.
you forgot what you're there for.
Oh my God. Anyway,
Goodbye.
it's been real.
It has.